Everyone, happy Tuesday. Seems like a broken record, but more storms, Peyton.
Yeah.
More storms. We just cannot stop with the stormy weather forecast. Now, Richard, I see your comment on here. We do have the storms possible overnight tonight. Some of those could be severe. Evansville might be a little bit too far south. I don't know. We're going to see how this all evolves, and I'll keep you updated. We're going to do a quick update now for those that are wanting to go to bed. Just make sure you have a way to remain weather aware. We want you to have at least 2 or 3 sources of warning. Tornado potential is pretty much, I would say, very, very, very low.
Yeah, close to zero.
Close to zero. You don't want to ever say zero
Right.
completely with
Right.
severe weather. But the tornado potential is, I would say, very low. However, wind damage, that's going to be a different story. And Richard, I see your comment. Could I please show the radar for Saturday? The problem is that I could show the future track radar. It didn't even get the complex of storms that happened in central Arkansas as well as western Arkansas. Fort Smith got hammered this morning into the early afternoon. Late morning, just before noon, a big complex of storms rolled through, which caused the temperatures to be a lot cooler, a lot of rain cooled air, a lot of cloud debris, and that kept the temperatures down.
Yeah, it definitely changes the game plan for the next 24 hours.
And also the humidity too, but it did start to come back a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at all that stuff. But first of all, Richard, I will get to that. Let me show you what's happening here as we move throughout time. So here's the very latest severe weather risk. There have been adjustments to this, including a little bit of an expansion in the width of the enhanced risk. So this is the enhanced risk across parts of basically northwest Arkansas and covering almost to the River Valley. I'd say it's very, very close. It kind of clips northern Sequoyah County. Now, what about that hail risk? We'll get to that in just a bit, but I think the main threat with these storms is going to be damaging wind potential. They already had, you talked about the gust in the Texas, Oklahoma Panhandle.
Yeah.
What was that?
114 miles per hour.
114 mile an hour winds. Now, that might have been from a circulation. There was a tornado warning with that storm. They have better ingredients for storms and severe weather. I think the storms will start becoming elevated. I also think the cloud debris and the cooler weather and the little less humidity for our area will tend to weaken these storms compared to what they're going to be in north central Oklahoma.
Definitely.
Yeah, there will be a weakening. There's no doubt about that. But let's take a look here at that hail risk. So someone mentioned that they increased this. And here's a look at the comment. I saw SPC increased our hail chances from 5 to 15. Yeah, one of the reasons they did that is I think maybe a little bit more instability than what was previously led on to. Even though we had the cloud debris, temperatures did recover.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of mid-level instability as well. No one was complaining about the cooler temperatures. No, definitely not. And it was nice to see that cooler weather. But I would put your furniture definitely up because it could get blown around in a major way. Let me take you through the timing of all this. And first of all, what's happening in the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle is a kind of a foreshadow of things to come. Now, you can see those storms traveling east-northeastward. But what's going to happen with this, Peyton? How do they make it into northwest Arkansas?
So they make it into northwest Arkansas by riding the ridge. So it's the upper level flow pattern. And the way it's shaped has northwest Arkansas right on the edge of the ridge.
So the ridge, what he's talking about is this big dome of high pressure. And so essentially this is what's going to make it really hot over the next couple of days. And we're right on what's called the northern periphery of this ridge. We can actually see this when we look at the GOES satellite. You're going to see those storms absolutely erupt. They were definitely intense. Yeah. Those are some cold cloud tops. So that's a massive cluster of storms that is just in its infant stages. Even you looking at that like, whoa, wow. Okay, so HRRR, not my favorite. It's the high resolution rapid refresh model. It totally blew, but it wasn't the only one. The forecast for this late morning into the afternoon with the rain and the storms.
Everyone blew out.
So here's a look at the future track, and here's a look at what happens at about, let me pause this here because I don't have any pause points. So here's about 2 o'clock in the morning. Is that timing right? It might be honestly a little slow because This is what it's showing at 8:30, and we go to Mega Doppler, and it's already starting to push into northwest Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Just that little bit of difference can make a huge difference in the timing, and so that might be just a little slow. So maybe subtract an hour from this, but regardless, around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, it will be knocking on our doorstep.
Mhm.
Coming through, I think around between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And then look at this now. It's got a bigger complex of storms. No doubt on a weakening trend. However, not weakening entirely where we don't get any gusty winds. Now, we might not see the 80, 90 mile an hour winds that they see in north central Oklahoma.
Right.
There's a possibility we'll watch it, and then the storm complex races off to the east. So this is going to be an overnight event early in the morning. We'll be watching the radar. We'll keep you updated. We'll do another Facebook Live a little bit later. Yes, damaging wind is going to be the main potential, Merle. There is going to be some hail potential, but it's mainly damaging winds. Now, that hatched area that you see, that black hatched area, this is for wind gusts exceeding 75 miles an hour and a greater potential for that over a localized distance. So basically, if you live within that hatched area, you have a greater than 10% chance, a probability of seeing winds 75 miles an hour or greater, which is pretty substantial. So be aware of that. Hatched areas aren't issued very often. And remember a couple Saturdays ago, those storms that came through, that's what we're going to have. So one last look at the timing. The only reason we haven't gone higher than 30% is because there was uncertainty as to the coverage of storms. So the confidence level is not very high right now. And all the models are kind of not in agreement, including the RRFS.
Right.
It took out the storms.
Yeah.
It has it all in southwest Missouri. So I do believe, though, that the HRRR is onto something. I will show you the ridge, and then we'll talk about the heat on the newscast tonight. So, and we'll do another detailed Facebook Live kind of covering a little bit more of this. But you can actually see that ridge. And, yeah, it looks like those storms will be making it potentially into northwest Arkansas. Look at that. There's the
Yeah.
ridge.
Mhm.
Now, what happens later on is that ridge is going to shift northward and move into central sections of central sections of the U.S. So, no kidding, Denise. I believe you. Trash cans, they're going to be down the road if you have trash day. So, all right, we've got to get ready for the newscast coming up. I've got Fox 24 News at 9. Anna is, of course, going to be giving you more information about the tragic situation that happened in Florida along the Gulf Coast. I was just there last week. The riptides were terrible, and unfortunately, we lost a great Razorback, former Razorback.
Still
I know
can't
that.
believe it.
We're just sitting here in disbelief. It really is. If you haven't heard, Ryan Mallett, former Razorback quarterback, passed away from a drowning incident earlier today. Terrible, terrible news. Really is. Really tough. Pray for the family. Pray for those involved. Just some really, really rough stuff there. But we'll have more information about the details as much as we know. And we'll take a look at the forecast. Yeah, Patriots Nation will miss him. I mean, he played quarterback. He was a stud, man. Those riptides, you mentioned it. They're not a joke.
They even take away the strongest of swimmers.
Yeah, it's terrible. And got to know what you need to do. When those double red flags are out, you can't swim. Uncertain exactly if it was a double red or a single red. I've heard conflicting reports. My daughter said it was single red earlier today, then it became double red, and so we'll be watching. Richard, for your forecast, I'll show you real quick. Just remember that take this with a grain of salt because the high resolution model data, well, really it's been terrible anyways. But here's a look at the storm chances Saturday night into Sunday morning. Focused in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But I think if your fireworks happening during the late evening, I think you'll be okay. It's overnight that we're going to see the storms. Lisa, Bella Vista, yes, watch out for Bella Vista because I think you are going to be under the gun. Josh Rugger is there as well. These storms are making their way eastward, and it looks to be getting very, very close. The farther north you go, the better the potential for severe weather, the greater the potential. You can already see that new severe thunderstorm warning. Doesn't have a considerable tag anymore, It was a yellow in Destin today. He was out on the second sandbar, which is dangerous. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's information that I did not know.
Right.
A lot of people passed away recently from the last couple of weeks. The weather's been crazy here. It's also was crazy in Florida. We had multiple storms, tornado that went through the Sandestin area a week ago last Monday. Just some crazy stuff.
Crazy summer so far.
Harrison is probably going to be on a weakening trend. Those storms will be
by the
weakening
time it
just
gets
a
to
little
Harrison,
bit more.
definitely on the weakening trend.
Definitely the Fayetteville Fizzle Colby effect is always a possibility. We know that. He's becoming a believer too. All right, I got to run. We'll take care, and we'll see you later on tonight. If you want to join in, we'll do another Facebook Live as more information becomes available and this complex of storms gets ever closer. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.